comments. All right, cool. Quick question. Is everybody on the Facebook group already? Is there anybody that's not? Oh, he's already. Wait, is anybody that's not on the Facebook group? Okay, great. So again, just want to give you a quick heads up. You should get notifications every time I post something. Every time we start a live, you get notifications. So no excuses. All right? And in a couple of weeks, you're taking the school exam, so make sure you are ready. What is real estate? A couple of weeks. It goes by so fast, I'm telling you. And it's been more effective, like doing Monday through Friday for 4 weeks. It's like it doesn't give you a chance to forget the material because we're constantly touching it. So.
It's so fast that you may want to come back again.
You have up to 1 year. You also have the evening class coming up, so you can if you want. I actually had John. This is a student of mine about 2.5 years ago. He was on disability, so he was not working. He was coming to my morning class. John Arrigozo, and he goes like, Bruno, can I come to your evening class? Sure. It's in a different location, but sure. He gets to that class, he goes, Bruno, can I come to your weekend class? Sure. I mean, as long as there's seating available, you can come to all the classes. And it's like, that's exactly what I want to hear. You know why? Because at home I can't study. I come here, it's like a refresher every time. I'm listening to the same things over and over, and that's the way I'm learning. And that's what he did. He did the whole course. At the time, I didn't have Monday through Friday classes, so it's like 3 days a week, 2 days a week, and then once every Saturday. But he did the whole course 3 times in a matter of 2.5 months between all the classes. 3 times in 2.5 months. That was his way of studying, and he passed. So you want to come back?
The
Sure.
guys on the first day that were here that passed?
He missed by, was it 3 points, I think it was? But here's the thing. His English is not so bad, but his comprehension in English is really bad. So it takes a lot of time. It's already bad enough for people that speak English very well to understand the question. So it takes a lot of time to translate it, which is a big mistake. You shouldn't do that because then it's a little different. So it takes a lot of time to translate and all that. So, but he missed by just a couple of points. He was really bad in the first try because he did not complete. It's 4 hours. By the time that it took him to go through every single question, translate, break it down, and all that, he did not finish. So he had, first time I think it was like 56 or 57, but because he didn't complete. This time he was that close. And as far as the other one, he already did most of the classes. He was just coming back because I canceled class in December for personal reasons. So now he's just catching up with all the classes, and hopefully he'll complete, take the exam. And then there's another one. He's like, life happens. He got sick, unfortunately, food poison. So he's not here. He's watching from home. So not an excuse. If you get food poisoning, no, don't show up. But you're still gonna have to make up the classes if you haven't done them before. Don't forget that. Watching from home does not take the hours. All right, cool. So what is real estate? This is a quick chapter. This actually should be the first question, right? Like the first chapter, what is real estate? Right? Who can tell me what is real estate? Since you're taking a real estate class.
See if I can say it right.
Say left, it doesn't matter. Anything. Come on.
List properties to sell.
That's your job. We're talking about what is real estate. I didn't ask what a real estate salesperson does. That's what you're answering me. I'm asking what is real estate. Anita, what did you say? Say it.
I didn't know it's assets or something.
Okay, so estate, the word estate itself means assets, something you own. Now, assets could be classified as real or personal property. Real property that's owned is called real estate, and that's where we are right now, a building, for instance, or the land. Right? What you were saying is the service that we provide is to list those assets for sale. You got it? So what is real estate? You should know what you're selling. Yes? So let me ask again, what are you selling?
Property.
Real estate, physical asset.
Nope. What did you say? Did you say something? No. Anybody else?
Industry. In the industry.
An industry? Wow. I'd love to sell an industry. Guys, we sell a service. That's what we do. Didn't we talk about brokering yesterday? We don't sell real estate. The seller sells. We don't buy real estate. The buyer buys. We sell a service. You got it? Now, our service is to market real estate. Okay? I just want to make that clear distinction. We don't sell anything. And I love realtors that go like, I sold it. No, the seller sold. You helped them sell. Right? Do we sell anything? No, we broker. So where it says estate, this word you need to be clear. I want you to write assets. Where it says estate, write assets. So if it's real estate, it is ownership of real property. We're going to define this right here at the bottom. Look what it says in green. It says real property ownership is often described as a bundle of rights. Real property ownership is described as a bundle of rights. See, what you're buying, Mr. Homeowner, is the rights previously held by the seller. What are these rights? They include the right of possession, the right to use the property in any legal manner, the right of enjoyment, next page, the right of exclusion, and the right of disposition or alienation. So, disposition or alienation is to gift or sell a property. These are your 5 fundamental rights when you own real estate. You got to remember. What rights do we have? Without reading. Anybody? I'll start with the first. Possession. What else? You need to remember these. So, the right of possession. What else? Use the property in any legal manner. If it's used for illegal purposes, you lose that right. So what else? Exclusion. So to keep people out, right? Right disposition. There's one missing.
Enjoyment.
Enjoyment. You're right to enjoy it. It's your property. Guys, I'm trying to be as clear as I can. You need to know these 5 fundamental rights. Possession, use in any legal manner, enjoyment, exclusion, and disposition alienation. Okay? Within these rights, there's more. There's the right to improve, so you don't have to keep the property the way it is. You can improve the property. The right to devise, which is leave by will. The right to mortgage, encumber, cultivate, explore, mine, build, lease, license, dedicate, give away, abandon, share, trade, or exchange the property. Now, you see where it says devise? Means leave by will or transfer property by will. Right? Sorry, Somebody's asking a question from home. Okay. So I want you to go here where it says lease. I want you to circle and put an arrow towards the empty space. Towards the empty space. Where it says lease, circle, put an arrow towards the empty space. And you're going to write demise. Demise is the exact same word as devise, but instead of a V, you're going to put M for Mary. Demise. Has anybody ever heard this word before, demise? No? Does anybody know what it means? Say it again. Oh, where? Right here. So it says lease. So circle lease and put an arrow towards the empty space. And write demise. Because we're going to repeat this a couple times. We have to understand the difference between these two. Devise is when you transfer property by will. I will devise in my will that upon my death, my children will get the property. That's devising. Okay? Demise is when you transfer property by lease. So every time you rent to a tenant, it's a demise. Transfer of property. It's now yours to occupy, yours to use, right? Yours to enjoy, yours to exclude, right? There's just one right that you don't have when it's a rental, which is the right of disposition or alienation. Okay? But we'll talk about those rights better at a later time. For now, just know, devise is by will, demise is by lease. Okay? Now, land versus real estate. Land versus real estate. What's the difference? So, the term land and real estate, though sometimes used to describe the same thing, have important differences in meaning. Land. In front of it, I want you to write raw. R-A-W. Raw. So raw land is the same thing as when you're born. Are you born with clothes? No. You do not improve it. It's the way you came to the world. It's raw. Land by itself is without any improvements. It is what it is. Then we start dressing it up. We put a house, we put a driveway, we put the pipes. Does that make sense? All that stuff is added later. So land in its essence is the way nature gave it to you. So the term land refers to the surface of the earth, including water and anything attached to it by nature, such as trees and bushes. It also includes the minerals and substances below the earth's surface, together with the airspace above the earth's surface up to infinity and beyond. Okay? So, you got the reference? All right. I thought you would get the reference of the movie I talked about before, but really? Toy Story? Cool. All right. It works. So what we're saying as far as land is, here's a surface, right? You own the rights to the property that's below, to the center of the earth, and the airspace above it to infinity, like I said, okay? But that's land. It's just surface, down and up is all yours. Thus, land may be defined as the earth extending downward from the surface to the center of the earth, upward to infinity, including all things, please highlight, underline, put stars, arrows, bubbles, all things permanently attached by nature. In front of nature, I want you to write only. In front of nature, write only. Because again, land is how it came to be. Nature said, let there be land. Boom. No, there you go. Let there be trees. It's part of it. Nature gave it to you that way. Okay? That brings us to real estate. What is the difference between land and real estate? Well, real estate includes land and all man-made improvements. So in the state exam, before I read the rest, in the state exam, if you see something that only a human could build on that land, like let's say it's paved, right? Did nature pave it? No. There's a house. Did nature put the house there? No. So if you see something that says there is human touch to it, we're talking about real estate. If there's human touch to it, it's real estate. If it does not describe anything related to people being in it and putting a, let's say it's just plumbing, right? Let's say it's just paving. There's nothing on it, right? That's real estate. If it's land as it came to be, so just dirt and trees and bushes, just the way it was, it's considered, previous one, land. Nature only, land, raw land. Added improvements, such as streets, buildings, utilities, sewers, or other manufactured additions. It's now considered real estate. Now, I started this chapter with asking what is real estate? And the word real estate means ownership of real property. And the concept is simple. Did you guys ever go to somebody else's property and install pipes? Put a house on it? Oh, there's land over there. It belongs to somebody else. Let me put a house. Nobody. So traditionally, we only make improvements to our property or our development, correct? At this point, it becomes real estate. That's why the word estate is there versus real property by itself. Any questions? Nope. Great. So real estate on top. Real estate then is defined as the Earth's surface extending downwards to the center of the Earth and upwards into space, including all things permanently attached to it by nature or by people, and all rights, benefits, and interests in it. Good? Great. Because now, let's complicate things a little bit. Subsurface rights. See, I told you that land and real estate is the surface, everything below, and everything above, right? So whatever is below the surface is called subsurface or mineral rights and can be sold separately. Subsurface or mineral rights and can be sold separately. Good so far? So for instance, a landowner may sell his or her rights to any oil and gas found in the land to an oil company. Where's the oil and gas? Is it above the surface or below the surface? I don't have the money or the resources to buy the machines to drill for oil. So, oil company, would you like to? For a fee, I give you the rights to everything that you find there. So I'm selling all that separately. I still own the property, but you, the oil company, own the rights to go drill for oil. Good so far? Now the landowner sells the land, because I told you I still own the property, sells the land to a purchaser, and in the sale reserves the rights to all the coal that may be found in the land. So I sold the rights of oil and gas to the oil company, and then I sold the rest of the property. Reserved the rights to the coal. So after these sales, three parties have ownership interests in the real estate. The oil company owns all the oil and gas. The seller owns all the coal. And what does the buyer get? Everything else. You guys got it? Questions? Pretty simple so far, right? Good. How about this one? Air rights. You think it's free, the air that you're breathing right now? Let's kidding. So air rights. I told you that you own the surface down and surface up to infinity. So air rights could be sold independently as well. You guys, you probably know this. It's always in the movies, series, and all that stuff in the news as well. There's this city that has really, really tall buildings, skyscrapers and everything. Does anybody know where it is?
New York.
New York. I'm glad somebody says New York. I have some people in my class that say Chicago. Like look out the window. We don't need to go to Chicago to see skyscrapers. So, skyscrapers. Have you noticed that where there's a tall building, so let's say the camera right here, skyscraper, everything else around is lower? Have you noticed that? Say yes, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. I just want to make sure you guys are here. So, we don't want to fool the people at home thinking that this is an empty class. So, so if you've noticed that, do you think there's a reason for it? Why isn't there a skyscraper right next to another?
It's about the rights above air rights.
Exactly. So for me to build this tall building right here, I went around and I paid everybody that's around, and I said, hey, you stay right there. Do not build above this certain height. You stay right there. Do not build above a certain height. Here's some money. Stay there. Now, you as a homeowner, you're like, $1 million to stay put? Sure, why not? Now, some of these were sold with term limits. So let's say you cannot build for the next 50 years, you cannot build anything above, let's say 100 feet. And they would take it. Some of these say for a lifetime, and they would take it. Does that make sense? For the developer, there's a reason. I'm selling prime views, and those prime views, because that's the only thing about New York, right? The prime views could cost $10 million. So I paid you $1 million to stay there, and each unit I'm selling for $10 million. Makes sense. Why they want to look at Jersey, I have no idea, and pay that much money. But that's the way it goes. Air rights is literally buying the space above your land. Okay? So below the surface, above the surface. Any questions here? There's just one missing, right? We said subsurface, we said air rights. How about water rights? If your property is bordered by water, you can also sell those rights independently. So it says right here, land bordering on oceans, seas, or large lakes affected by tide currents is known as littoral. And land border or traversed by a stream or waterway is known as riparian. So, you guys agree?
Train rights.
Those are train rights. So here's the thing. An easy way to remember the difference between littoral and riparian. I put it in green. Littoral and riparian. Ready? Littoral starts with L, so lakes or large bodies of water. So a lake is standing water, right? There's no stream, there's no movement, there's no current. It's just there. So anything that's a large body of water just standing, littoral. Riparian is rivers, starts with R for rivers. A river is water that has a current, moves, correct? Keeps on moving. So if there's a stream going through, it's called riparian rights. Littoral, large bodies of water. Riparian, rivers or streams. Any questions so far? Nope, great. So if a stream is identified as not navigable on the Federal Survey map, its bed is owned by the owner or owners of the adjoining lands who have certain riparian rights that allow them to use the water. So I want you guys to go above on the top of the page. And here's what we have. We have non-navigable stream. And I'm sorry, in my book, because it's scanned, it doesn't show the line, but there's a line right here in the middle, right? And on the right-hand side, it says navigable. What does it mean, navigable? It means that commercial can go through. So commercial boats, for instance, can go through. If it's commercial, right, if they can go through, then the water is owned by the public. That means your property ends right here. Got it? If it's non-navigable, that means nothing can come through. It has no use to the public. Just like this one. The bed is very high, so it's not going to go anywhere. Then your property does not end here. Your property, if you guys see in your book, there's a line right in the middle. Your property ends in the middle of the stream. So you own part of the water. You guys good so far? Any questions on this? No? Okay, cool. So, in New Jersey, the riparian rights most frequently referred to as the rights of landowners abutting tide-flowed lands. For example, the meadowlands along the Hackensack River. So the owners there have riparian rights. They own the water. Nothing goes through. That's why sometimes you see people with jet skis in the river, right? It's their backyard. They can. Now, normally, when two properties have a stream as their common border, the dividing line between the two properties is the middle of the stream, as I was showing you earlier. If the stream were suddenly to change its course, a process known as avulsion, the property line would not move, but would remain where it always had been. So it's not a common thing to happen, but if the stream, instead of coming this way, starts going up, the property line is still the same. It's the middle. It doesn't matter how the water flows, your property line is still the middle. Okay? Next, we have accretion. Accretion, I want you guys to write. I want you guys to write addition. Addition. Like you adding something. Because accretion is an increase or addition of land. Every time you see the word accretion, you're gaining land. And it's the opposite of erosion. Erosion is loss of land or property. Accretion, you gain. Erosion, you lose. And we have a third weird name to remember. Reliction. Now, reliction is a creation of dry land. If it's creation, that means you're doing it, right? It's not nature doing it, it's you. You're creating dry land by removing water. Right? So if you remove water from somewhere, it starts drying. Correct? Like Ferry Street, Market Street, things that did not exist and now exist. Water out, you dump materials in.
Holland.
Sorry?
Holland.
Holland?
Yeah.
Tunnel?
No.
Dubai?
Dubai, Holland.
These were created. It's called reliction, the process. Questions here? It's a short chapter. I just want to make sure you guys understand these things because tomorrow's chapters, they're very short, but very long to understand. Okay? Slowest pace possible. I'll speed up where I have to speed up. I'll slow down where I have to slow down. So questions. What is accretion?
Increase of the land.
Gaining land. What is erosion? Loss of land. Can you own the water?
Yes.
If
If
non-navigable. If it borders your property or it's on your property and it's non-navigable. Okay? Cool. So now, real property versus fake property. Right? Isn't it crazy the names they give to this stuff? Real property? That means the other one must be fake. Right? So here's the thing. Everything that can be owned may be classified as either real property or personal property. And anything that can be inherited is what is it? Say it again. I just like to have fun with it, so go ahead. I do it in every class. It doesn't matter how you say it, as long as you know what it is. Hereditament, doesn't really matter to me. Some people in my class, especially English professors, as I had, so it's just funny. Really cool guy. But in the middle of class, I said this. He goes like, "Excuse me, the correct pronouncing is." I'm like, "Okay, all right." But to take the exam, you don't need to pronounce it. You just need to know what it is. So, all right. It doesn't matter. Hereditament, whatever way you want to say it, it really doesn't matter. It's inheritance. It becomes yours. Now, real estate or real property, and I'm saying this because there's weird words coming up, just letting you know. Real estate or real property has already been defined as the earth's surface, including permanent additions and growing things attached to it, the airspace above it, and the minerals below it. Now, as far as personal property, which is also called personality, it's all the property that does not fit the definition of real property. This is the worst sentence ever in the book. It's pretty much saying, like when I ask you guys, what does it mean to care? Well, caring for things. You still did not give me an answer. White is the opposite of black. Great. So what is personal property? Please highlight. While real estate is fixed and immovable, personal property is movable. Look right here. Look at me. Real estate. Is this wall movable?
Yes.
You can move the wall? Hold on. No. You can remove the wall. The question was, is it movable? No. This remote right here. Is it movable? Yes. This right here is personal property. It's not attached to the real estate. It's personal property, movable. If you have a car, does your car move? Hopefully, right?
Yes.
When you get out of here, hopefully it moves. So it's movable. Your car is personal property. The structure is real property. The land, does the land move? No, is real property. Are we clear on this?